to kill, steal, and destroy by any means possible a human being's life through protocols written by psychologists and psychiatrists, backed by federal, state, local agencies that have the power and the money to embezzle American taxpayers' money to run their own illegal operations. The program has been designed to break down targets emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially, so that they are helpless in fighting off the program's attempts to frame, slander, lie, and destroy in any way possible the victims' lives with technologies like direct energy weapons, such as microwave weapons, EMF, laser, voice to skull, and microwave hearing, often marketed on the black market, aka the dark, deep web. On that note, here is a quote from the New York Times from September 1st, 2018, which stated, "More recently, the American military itself sought to develop microwave arms that could invisibly beam loud booms and even spoken words into people's heads." Other weapons and tactics that are used in the secret operations are setups that create homelessness, covert stalking, isolation, sleep deprivation, physical pain, separation from family and friends, divorce, annoying street theater antics, discrimination, and smear/slander campaigns, all aimed to destroy a person's reputation and character. They spread lies about the target in the vicinity of the target's life, where neighbors and friends become suspicious about them, because they are told that the target is under investigation. And I'll just add that they usually say that they're under federal investigation, which keeps people away from the target and threatens that if they involve themselves with that person or that target, that they could possibly face some jail time.
That's right.
So that keeps the targets isolated.
That's right.
The community around the target is also threatened, where they must conform to this illegal operations and become targeted themselves or worse. They are given rewards in the tunes of houses, cars, and other gifts as bait to become a snitch to the target in attempts to frame them with blackmail crimes such as theft, drug dealing, rape, prostitution, you name it. The secret program smear campaign is also used to keep people in the program from getting jobs and housing with illegal surveillance by neighbors, similar to the tactics used in the Stasi German Nazi regime, involving friends, families, spouses, lawyers, doctors, co-workers, or anyone else that could potentially give support to the target. Why, you might ask? The same reason agencies conducted past programs: human experimentation, human trafficking, money laundering, corrupt use of power, and mostly control over those who might question these illegal operations of these hidden programs. I am making a plea today for you to become aware and help millions of people in the United States and across the globe who are suffering from this illegal secret program. These victims have had all aspects of their lives destroyed from this program that is hidden from the public eye. This program is not a conspiracy theory, nor is the victims who are calling out their perpetrators delusional. These people do not have mental disorders, which the program uses as their number one defense to rationalize their crimes.
Right.
These victims are not alone amongst the millions of other stories where people are experiencing the same symptoms. Nearly identical target accounts to this program can be found on the internet under the slogan of gang stalking. The truth be known that there are multiple people reporting these horrendous crimes so that the program is not secret anymore. The fact that over 30 cities around the world are rallying and warning others in this very moment should be evidence within itself about the horrors of this program, while giving support to each other where the system needs to be where there's no support system in place. This form of discrimination to target innocent This form of discrimination to targeted innocent lives that caused these victims to be brutalized and stripped of their rights, which also includes vulnerable children and people who suffer from handicaps and live alone. Now I'm going to confront the skeptics and explain how this program does exist.
That's right.
Innocent, normal people are being framed by the means of fabricated CONTEL law, documents, recordings, videos, law enforcement, medical CONTEL pro, and multi-stalkers as blameless people are being called delusional and deemed with mental illness. These victims are having their rights taken away because of all the tricks, money, and power of this program that federal, state, and local agencies are involved in and don't want the public to know that really exists.
That's right.
When there is so much money, power, media, secrecy, covers-ups, and people involved, then the people in the general public cannot possibly know that, then people in the general public know that they can be persuaded away from the truth of this covert program. There was experimentation with humans and radiation without their consent, in which President Clinton apologized for in 1995. Can you imagine being taken and isolated from the rest of the world and having people in hoods and suits experimenting on you with radiation? What could be more terrorizing?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the MK Ultra mind control experiments President Ford apologized for, admitting that an invasive program on unwilling peoples had been developed by technologies to take over people's minds and control them in our own country. It has become a fact. Can you imagine being subjected to secret mind control agencies and trying to explain the effects to the general public? What would the general public say to them? You're delusional. You're crazy. That is a conspiracy theory, right? Well, guess what? The same kind of secret programs have learned from their mistakes and upgraded protocols and interface law enforcement and anyone else that opposes it, so it's next to impossible for victims who are put in this program to find help with allies, agencies, or support programs. Victims know that this program has been successful, and if you don't believe me, ask Facebook, who has come out with mind-reading technology and an app that cannot be uninstalled called Brain-Computer Interface. What you have to understand is that all these weapons and technologies that we, the public, are seeing now have been developed and in use by our military in other countries for God knows how long. The public is the last to know about such technologies, and the bottom feeders and domestic terrorists on the dark/deep web are getting these technologies for cheap these days and radiating innocent people. Recently, microwave weapons were used on diplomats and their children in Cuba and China, causing brain injuries. Hello? I'm sorry to inform you, but the psychopathic, sociopathic instinct that the people had that operated the weapons against the diplomats and their children are what millions of stalkers do to millions of innocent people and bystanders in our country every day. Since they don't have a status of equal to diplomat, they are being considered mentally ill and not getting mainstream media attention and suffering and being ridiculed in the process in secret. Debunk the perps.
That's right.
So if people are delusional, paranoid, hypervigilant, mentally ill, and this program doesn't exist, then why can programs like MK Ultra mind control experiments, radiation experimentation secretly on unwilling humans, and direct energy attacks on humans exist and proven to exist, but a program like this one that I'm describing doesn't and can't exist? Not. Agencies that have the mentality to create the injustices described as definitely above are definitely along the lines and have created this program again. In other words, the people in the agencies doing these inhumane criminal acts are not stopping by getting caught. They are learning from their mistakes on how to deceive to make sure the program is 100% successful, keeping it from the public until now, until Alliance to End Targeting.org and other support groups came along. Number 2. So if people are delusional, paranoid, hypervigilant, mentally ill, then this program doesn't exist. Then why do heroes like Lieutenant Larry Richards from the law enforcement in Santa Cruz, California, admit in a news segment that gang stalking was around before Facebook and other social websites? They just now have gone into those areas. This was 8 years ago. Case closed. All right? Case closed. A lieutenant from law enforcement admitted on national TV that gang stalking exists. But the people in the agencies behind these programs are still using denial plausibility to keep destructions of people's lives secret and are still getting away with it because of the power and the money or the threats to get anyone. YouTube, police lieutenant admits to gang stalking. That's hands down right there. That's
right.
What more proof do you need? A lieutenant admits to gang stalking right there.
Right.
Number 3, people are delusional, paranoid, hypervigilant, mentally ill, and this program does exist because the people chosen against their will to participate in the program are smart. The covert stalkers make intimidation obvious to the hunted people, but hide it in the plain sight of public.
Yeah.
For example, covert stalkers that a target has never seen before walk by the targets and say, "There he is. There she is."
Yep.
They use projected conversation to make sure the targets know that they know something personal that has happened in the target's life. This is not delusional. This is surveillance abuse and psychological abuse that happens to almost everyone in this program. Number 4. So if people are delusional, paranoid, hypervigilant, mentally ill, and this program doesn't exist, then why are people describing the same patterns and techniques of harassment, life-destroying events, and discreditation from the law enforcement agencies, medical CONTELPRO, and homeland terrorists that perform ludicrous acts of domestic terrorism across the globe? People across the world are not making up scenarios and symptoms to justify delusions.
That's right.
There are thousands of videos on the internet and YouTube about this program. On YouTube, try to look up William Shatner organized stalking for a basic depiction of organized stalking, which is a tentacle of this program. In my opinion, they are advertising for jobs blatantly on Indeed as role surveillance players. Of course, they will deny that this job is for stalking, like they deny everything else about this program. This program is full of deception and setups. It only takes a collaborated story from a homeland domestic terrorist like neighbors, law enforcement, and psychiatrists, and a person is discredited, framed, and locked up in a psychiatric institution or jailed falsely. This happens all right now in the U.S. Number 5. So if people are delusional, paranoid, hypervigilant, mentally ill, and this program doesn't exist, then why are people that are reporting the stalking, the mobbing, the other related situations above also reporting getting hit with direct energy weapons? There are apps and devices to detect these DEWs that has been fired at faultless individuals. They describe that they are being hit in certain places, in certain rooms in their homes, also when certain cars drive by, and drones over their heads. Repercussions from the DEWs are described as migraines, pain anywhere in the body, abnormal muscle twitching that is also used for sleep deprivation, anxiety, heart palpitation, lethargic, being cooked from the inside out, and countless other complaints. These people are driving around with weapons in their car and hitting innocent people that are aware of their dangers, and hitting also innocent bystanders. Now that I have proven to the best of my ability that this program is not supposed to exist, but does in fact exist, I would like to say that not all officers of law enforcement and people in the medical field and other important areas of life are participating in this horrific program. But I do know for a fact that if a person has been marked in this program, I guarantee that there is law enforcement, medical CONTELPRO, and thousands of others participating in the destruction of the marked person's life and are employed in this program. Ladies and gentlemen, by going through the loopholes in the law and using denial plausibility and threats to maintain and control denial of plausibility of this program exists, provocators maintain this program and are getting away with criminal activity that is so horrific and gruesome and sickening that I do not feel comfortable about talking about it on this very stage. How do we stop it? Well, this is just my opinion. We need some laws in place we need new laws in place. They are getting away with the stalking because they are sending multiple people against targets in which the loophole in which is a loophole in the stalking laws.
Right.
Number two, most importantly, we need trustworthy law enforcement that will implement laws that are already in place and not discredit, harass, or treat targeted people like a criminal when set up with crimes that happen to them. Number three, we need to know exactly the kind of weapons we are dealing with, the effects we also need to know of these devices, and we need to know exactly the kind of weapons we are dealing with and the effects of these devices, and we need devices plentiful for everyone to detect these secret weapons. Because it costs thousands of dollars to get to buy equipment to triangulate these signals. So in other words, we need some devices that are abundant to the public so that we can detect where we're getting hit from, with what kind of direct energy weapon, and who's doing it. Number four, we desperately need you, the public, to be informed, involved, supportive, active, and believe that these unthinkable crimes are going on, and stop believing the lies and deceptions that people are advocating to ensure this wicked program's success. Number five, we need very harsh penalties and long-term imprisonment implicated on these individuals for these fearful and unimaginable crimes and guiltless people. Thank you very much. I love you all, and I'm praying for all, and I'm praying for this to end. And I thank you so much for your support, coming out here today and participating in helping getting this program eradicated. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you.